Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. We are backstage on the Bullet for My Valentine tour today, and I'm delighted to say Mr. Matt Tuck joins me. How are you, man?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Good to see you. Not too bad, man. Not too bad.
Good.
I guess before we get into all the kind of exciting stuff around this album that's kind of imminent at the time of recording and all that stuff, last time I spoke to you backstage at Download Pilot, I think you were about 2 hours away from showtime. Very excited as you were, and as you should be. It was a huge, huge end to that weekend. How you reflecting on what was undoubtedly a massive moment for the band, right?
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was a great honor to be asked to be part of the event. Great honor to asked to headline it, obviously. Something we've been working hard for 15 years to achieve. And yeah, it was great. The show, it was one of those shows where, from our point of view, we're always very critical of the performance and the production and all that, you know, what comes with being in the band. But I think all four of us came off and I don't think we could have been happier, really. So if there was any moment to have one of those kind of stars-aligned moment shows, it was on that day, and thankfully it was. Yeah, it was brilliant. Loved every second of it, man. It was really, really cool.
No, it's really good to hear, and it kind of kicked off the era, I suppose, that we're now into, and now, like I say, out on the road once again. It's been a recurring theme with every band I've spoken to recently, where they're going, got to remember how to do this again. Got to blow away those cobwebs. How have you found that experience, man, actually getting back in rehearsals and getting back used to not just the shows, but life on the road, I suppose?
Yeah, it's so far so good. It's kind of just feels like business as usual. There's just been a big gap in the middle.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, the first show in Nottingham that we played, it definitely felt like a bit like rabbit in the headlights for the first couple of songs, you know, because it was Nottingham Marina. It was a big show, loads of people there, loads of production. And yeah, it took me off guard a little bit. But as soon as I kind of calmed myself down and just got into the zone, it was great. I loved it. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, nice to be back.
Nice to be back, man. It definitely feels like I said earlier, I definitely feel like I've done a show. You know, neck's hurting, the voice is a little bit hoarse today, but I mean that's only a good thing.
The wear and tear is back, but in a positive way. It's all good. Well, let's get into this album, man. You know, I mean, maybe it's an obvious, silly question, but how generally are you feeling as we go into release week now? I know you guys have been so excited for this one, and rightly so, but also just waiting to finally have this moment to share it with the people. You guys must just be really, really excited, particularly, I imagine.
Yeah, it's that kind of the 6 months. Well, we finished recording it, all of it, in January 21.
Yeah.
And then it got mixed and mastered, and so it was completely done by March of this year, you know. So there's that whole time that we've, you know, lived with it, that people only get to hear drips and drabs of the songs that we've released. So it's a bit of a limbo period for us, you know. So now we're approaching that kind of moment. It feels good, you know, and we're really proud of the record. We can't wait for people to hear it. We've had really, really good feedback from the fan base online. We've had really good feedback from all the magazines that we really care about, and yeah, it's good. It's exciting, man. We just want to get it out there. It's a banging record, and it's time. We're enough already. Let's just get it out. Enough waiting, man.
It is time to finally get it out there. Well, no, you guys should be really, really proud of it. I mean, we've talked already a lot about the sound and kind of the things you've been playing with and stuff, but it is just interesting how much it encapsulates. I can understand why you call it a self-titled record in a lot of ways. It really does sum you guys up. Couple of moments I do want to pick out. Firstly, that opening is fascinating to me. Before we hit into that opening track, there is just some little glimpses into your past there. It's little hints. What made you guys decide, oh, okay, maybe that's something we want to play with?
I wanted an intro for the record. It's always good to set up the first track, especially like a song like Parasite. It's so ferocious and fierce. You can't just open the album with it. It would just be too much of a sledgehammer to the face. So we wanted something to set it up, which also sets up the live show. So I just came up with this idea to have all these moments from the past, which kind of have led up to today, really, you know. And being a self-titled record, I just thought it was a really good way to kind of honor the past, but almost put a full stop after it and start again, you know. Yeah. And I think that's what this album represents. It's a new Bullet. It's a hungry, motivated, angry Bullet, just like we were back in the day, and it feels like we're reborn, almost, you know. So it's good, man. So that's what it's about. Yeah, it came out really good.
Yeah, it came out really cool.
It's a vibe, you know. It took a bit of kind of putting together of stuff, because although it sounds nice and slick on the record, it took me and Carl, the producer, quite a while to put that together. But yeah, it's good vibes. It sets it up great. It's a nice wink to the past, and then it's a kind of a big middle finger to the past when Parasite comes in too, you know. So
it's so true. It is interesting. You keep saying that. I've heard you say a lot of places, you know, that this feels like a new band. It feels like a little bit of a rebirth in that way, and I can understand that. Particularly the energy on this record. You know, you really are very, very hungry for it in this future. But moments like that, you can see that you have been reflective. You have been kind of looking back, at least to an extent, and going, okay, these are the things that made us what we are. Let's try new twists on it, that kind of thing. Did you feel in a reflective mood, I guess is the question, writing it? How much were you looking back?
It wasn't looking back as such. It was always more looking forward. But it just, because there was this whole talk behind the scenes within the band and management and everyone that it's self-titled, it just feels like the new beginning. It was just like, okay, well, let's just kind of capture that vibe from the very get-go of this record before you even hear a note of a first song. Let's go back into the past a little bit to see how we got here, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you know, like I say, we have obviously talked before a little bit about how you guys were really want to push into that heavier sound on this one. Lyrically, I find that kind of fell into place a little bit as well, because something, again, I've discussed with a lot of musicians recently is that this is by no means a pandemic record in any way, shape or form, but that last year or so is definitely going to influence everybody in some way. And I think with you guys, it's some of that anger. I know, you know, Lyrics to Bastards, for example, that could have been shouted a lot over the last year at moments of frustration, right? How much did that kind of seep into it lyrically?
It only seeped into it when I allowed it to.
Right.
It was just kind of living in a really, I don't want to use the word unique period of time, but maybe that is a good word. I don't know. Unusual.
Yeah, let's go
time.
Unusual.
In our generation, you know what I mean? It's something hopefully we'll never have to endure again. So it would have been hard not to kind of get that involved somewhat, especially when you're writing 15, 16 plus songs, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, just kind of let it come in a couple of songs where I felt it was necessary, and I wanted to go there, really. I didn't want it to be kind of just all about that, because that would just be silly.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of songs like Parasite and Bastards, which are definitely a wink to what was going on in 2020.
Yeah, inevitable it's going to bleed in somehow, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as it's channeling in the right way. Another thing I want to mention, Rainbow Veins, because I know when that came out, you were saying that was definitely a personal highlight in many ways on the record for you. One of my favourite standout moments on that as well, I've got to say. What is it about that particular track that you think is one of the highlights within this new collection?
I think it's the uniqueness of the title, the uniqueness of the song itself, how it sounds, the soundscapes we've used, and just the musicality around it. And I think just the lyrics I wrote, it's the first time ever that I've written the lyrics without any music.
Wow.
I just wrote down a load of shit and then wedged it into a song, you know? Rather than writing an instrumental and then writing on top of it. It's like I usually do. Yeah, it was lyrics that I just kind of just started writing down and just went on this weird psychedelic kind of mental health kind of downer trip. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I must have been in a weird place that day.
So
because the lyrics are pretty wild.
The lyrics are pretty wild. But that's actually interesting in itself then. So when you had that set of lyrics there, that's a whole new way of working for you, suddenly having to figure out, okay, what's the musical language of these words actually going to be?
Yeah. The lyrics were there. The song, there's about 3 versions of Rainbow Veins.
Right.
And we finally ended up with this one that we really love.
Interesting, man. No, real standout moment on the record. I really
you.
do think so. I want to leave you with this, man, because I know you got to go get ready for a show very soon. But what kind of is going to be next, man? I've heard you saying there's some new songs, or are they new songs that you've kind of got in the locker, or are these things left over from these last sessions? What kind of stuff are you playing with at the minute?
Well, we've got obviously 6 tracks that people haven't heard on the record yet. So it's whether we use something off that again going forward. Personally, I think once the album's out, it's out.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, and the 4 songs we've released kind of do the job.
Yeah.
You know, so album's out, and I don't think at that point then it would be kind of any point in releasing a song that's off the record because people already know it. So we've got so much stuff left over. So many fully recorded tracks that could have easily gone on the record. It's just that we didn't choose them for whatever reason, but they will see the light of day, and some of it is subjectively better than what is on the record.
Interesting.
So yeah, so we kept at least 2 of the really, really good ones back so they could have a standalone spotlight moment after the album's bedded in, you know.
Oh man, exciting stuff. Cannot wait to see what comes next, man. It's good to see how hungry you guys are for it. Can't wait for all these shows and everything, man. In the meantime, just take care of yourself, all right?
I will, man. You too, man.
All right.